Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. If you are not familiar with this web series, where have you been? We're past 70 episodes right now. You gotta get on board, guys. But there's always the late stragglers, and that's okay. So let me just tell you what we're about. So this is a web series where we like to talk that real talk. We like to talk about things that we don't really think about, that's in the back of our minds, that we like to talk about with a close group of friends or at the kitchen table. It's what's it called? It's called kitchen table talk. Yeah, well, we like to take those conversations and we like to put it all out in the open. And the purpose of this is for us to educate you. That's it. It's for us to educate you. And we believe that people's life stories and life experiences are educational tools. And that is what we are about here at Hot Topics. Yes, we like to get steamy and have that real talk, but at the end of the day, we want to educate you. We are all about education. So I am so looking forward to this topic because I'm going to tell you the name of this episode. Let me get my banner. Where's my banner? So let's get right to it. The name of this episode is Mom of a Young Entrepreneur. And this is a unique episode because some episodes back, I had a guest. His name is Jacob Wojtowicz. And you can watch that episode if you check out our video library, depending on where you're watching this. He was actually a guest on this very web series. The name of that web series is called Young Entrepreneurship Part 2. And this is a unique episode today because I have his mom with me as a follow up to that. And Jacob spoke about his experiences uh, as a teenage entrepreneur. And so now I have his mom as a guest with me who's going to talk about what it's like, raising such um, an entrepreneurial child. So I'm excited to have this discussion and I'm looking forward to see where this goes. So, Mom of a Young Entrepreneur, that is the name of this episode. And the guest who is going to sit on the hot seat with me, her name is Claudia Wojtowicz, and it is Jacob's mom. And I am excited to see where this episode goes. So let's get right to it. So let me tell you who she is. Who is Claudia Wojtowicz? Let me tell you who she is. So, Claudia Wojtowicz is a proud mother of two amazing young men, Jacob and Joshua, and her dog, Chewy. She recently relocated to Charleston, South Carolina from Port Washington, Long Island, about a year ago. On top of juggling motherhood, career wise, Claudia has a diverse background of experience from advanced formal education to many achievements. Claudia has founded and owned her own business of personal shopping and styling, serving some of the country music stars as well as private clients. Claudia then held a position with the Department of Human Services and Adult Probation while simultaneously operating her business. She is educated in the fields of hotel restaurant management, culinary arts, business administration, and art history. On top of all that, Claudia is fluent is whoa. Claudia is fluent in four international languages. I believe that is called a polyglot. Claudia has dedicated her free time to giving back to her local community. In New York, she was a volunteer with several organizations, including the United Jewish Federation, Hope Foundation for Domestic Violence, local EMS on the ambulance, and the Medical Reserve Corps. She has also volunteered in several fundraising opportunities within the nonprofit sector. Since being in South Carolina, Claudia has been involved with the HBO series The Righteous Gemstones as a background actor. Now, if that's not a wealth of experience, I don't know what is. All right, so that's awesome. I'm gonna bring her to the stage right now. Hi,
Hey,
Claudia. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yes, awesome. So yes, this is a follow-up to our previous episode of which your son was a guest about being a young entrepreneur. So I wanted to talk to you about that. This was actually his suggestion to have you as a guest.
How was
So
it?
yeah, it was his suggestion. So yeah, let's get right to it. I definitely want to hear your side of things. So tell me, what is it like to have such an entrepreneurial son?
Um, it's a blessing and a curse as he's very motivated, very determined, and quite headstrong, if I might add. But times it can be very fulfilling to see a young man in this day and age fulfill so many achievements that he hones on himself and on top of juggling one friends and still wanting to have uh, that carrot uh, be in front of him to be able to chase that next adventure. So it's it's a win-win, and then sometimes it can be a little difficult, and being headstrong, but I'm very proud, and I'm very happy that he has the the fire inside of him to really want to do so much more in life.
When you say headstrong, what do you mean?
Um, sense of knowing what he wants, not always coming off that beaten path, so to speak, but when that determination hits and there is no stopping him. He is 110 miles per hour. He knows what the end result is going to be and what it looks like for him and what the success of it will look like for him, and is so that will get to the point where he will burn the candle at both ends in order to achieve that, but at the same time finishes and comes through always in in a way that not only himself, that he's proud of himself, but also has made the achievement for himself, knowing that going forward he invites friends or shares the wealth and knowledge with everyone around him, and you can just feel the energy with him when when you see that whole wheel turn of what his next adventure is going to be. So it's fun. It's fun. Roller coaster ride for sure.
So it's it sounds like there's a lot going on there. Like you're happy that he's so focused on something, but then he can be too focused.
Sometimes, and I find that in with their generation right now, there can be so many things that can contribute to a lot of things in their life, whether it's social, whether it's academic, whether it's family, whether it's just personal, trials and tribulations that their generation goes through. So I think it's very important in general to just have balance, so that you can feel whole or feel that you are not always pulling to one side more so than the other. He does sometimes, I feel, get into situations where I wonder how is he gonna, react to this? How is he gonna make it through? But at the end, not only does he make it through, but succeeding and the accomplishments and the just everything that comes with it. So it's like I said, it's a roller coaster, but at the end, it's been a fun ride thus far.
What are the most fun parts of your son's journey?
Just feeling the fulfillment of the achievement. I remember growing up, we didn't have as many opportunities as their generation does today, but just the snowball, of the beginning to the end, where the his mind is clicking and he knows that he wants to create or he wants to achieve or accomplish, and just to the entire process and how he takes it from point A to Z.
Hello, you there? Looks like you froze up on me. All right, sorry about this, guys. It looks like she is frozen. Um, we're just gonna give it a second and um, see if it improves a little bit. All right, it's the downside to doing these. Okay, she had to leave, so hopefully she will hop back on. So hopefully she will get back on. So let's give it a second here. All right. So I'm just gonna wait and see if she hops back on. So we're just gonna take a little pause and we'll see if she gets back on. Hi, everything all right?
Yeah, blank. Is everybody?
Yeah, it's you're still kind of going in and out. And
So
I see you now.
can you see me now?
Yes, I
For
can.
some reason, it just said system error and it just went blank. But I'm back. I
All
apologize.
right. All right, go ahead. I'm switching it back over to you now.
No worries. I don't know which part I left off and what you didn't hear.
I'll put you 2 by 2. We were talking about what's the fun parts about your son owning a business?
So I don't know what the last part was that you heard. So the fun part is just seeing the actual beginning to end creation of what he decides to do or the adventure he decides to go on is seeing just the whole process, and that's what's fun about it is watching his whole creative mind and his direction on how he proceeds from the beginning to the end of it, the actual evolution of the idea, and that's what's the most fun.
Mm. So take us to the moment where Jacob came up to you and said, "Mom, I want to open a business," right? Take us to that moment. What happened?
So it actually wasn't, Mom, I want to open a business. It was more, I'm going down the street. I have a driveway to shovel, or I'm going to go rake someone's yard, or this is what I'm going to do, as opposed to him waking up and saying, "Oh, so today I think I want to have a snow removal business, or I want to have a moving business, or I want to have a landscaping business, or I want to put a lemonade stand out front." Or it was never any of that. It was more so, "Jacob, what are you doing? Why are you getting the tent out?" "Well, Mom, today I'm going to sell water." Or, "Today there's a race and I'm going to put out bananas and water." Or, "I'm going to sell lemonade." Or, "I'm going to help my brother, raise money for school." Or it was always, this is what he was going to do, as opposed to, "I think I want to do this." So the creative end always came from him inside, and he would create whatever it was that he felt that he needed to do, whether it was processing that in his brain or in his room or on the computer. It was never a situation where he laid out a business plan in front of me and said, "This is what I want to do, what do you think?" It was, "Oh, by the way, this is what I'm doing." Like, for instance, right now he will do a family share calendar and say, I'm moving so and so today. I'm going to pick up this person and drop them off here, or I'm raking their leaves, or I'm taking down a palm tree, or I'm cutting down their bushes. So it's pretty much just sharing a calendar and telling me where he's going to be at what time, on top of school and his part-time job at a local um 4 or 5, bedroom bed and breakfast where he works here locally. So again, it's that whole process of him just coming up with these ideas. And I said to him the other day, I said, do your friends really know what they got into when you call them and say, hey, so and so needs to be moved? And somebody locally wrote up, a great blog or accomplishment for them and said, hey, if you guys need anybody, needs any help moving, so and so and so and so was just out at my house today, and they were great, they were professional, they showed up on time, and they were, um, very impressed, and white glove service. So if you need anybody. So as soon as that post went out in our local neighborhood, I think within 45 minutes to an hour, he had 18 people calling him. So it was pretty much him organizing the entire process from the beginning to the end, and doesn't even have a name for this business that he's doing now. It just kind of flourished. He got a truck and decided, this is what I want to do. So it's not really him presenting anything to me. It's pretty much he created it, he developed it, and he saw the end result, and brings his friends along to also share the wealth with them. It's not something that he takes out upon himself and just kind of hoards any ideas or even the profits from that. He always includes his friends to come with him. So that's pretty much where I stand on it now. It's what time, and I look at my phone and I know where he's going to be, or if someone else needs something, then that's pretty much, he'll call me and say, I know it's late, but I got one more client and I'm going to try to fit them in. So that's when I say it can be a roller coaster ride, because from one minute to the next, he could be moving, like he could be doing landscaping, or I don't even know with him anymore. He's always got something going on. So it's been interesting.
So it's that headstrong personality. Like he just told you, "Mom, this is what I'm going to do," and he just goes and does it.
He just goes and does it. And it's not because he doesn't want to follow or have any kind of respect for the rules, or, and I mean rules in the sense of our family dynamics of, being, in a perfect world, and we try to strive as much as possible to be at home for dinner and have that cohesiveness to be able to discuss and talk and interact and laugh and cry and play, as much as possible, because I think it's important, to have that, relationship dynamics. But when it can't happen, it can't happen. But we really strive for that. So during those types of conversations or tax conversations, we pretty much say, okay, this is where I'm going to be, or this is what I'm going to be doing. And I again reiterate, are you sure? Aren't you exhausted? Are you tired? You really should be sleeping. And he's very receptive of those things, but at the same time knows that he's made a commitment to his clients and always fulfills their needs on a timely manner, I must say.
Were you ever worried about him?
I'm worried more so that he pushes himself too hard at times, and I think it's, again, going back to having balance. But to be honest, I'm not, because I think that he understands what it's like to be a 17-year-old boy in this day and age, or young man for that matter at this point. And the group of friends that he's managed to have here, now that we've been in South Carolina for a little over a year, have been, a very positive experience for him. It's He started his high school, you know, years in a COVID scenario. So it's been great that he can go in person, have friends, have interactions, and at the same time is achieving tremendously at school. Straight A's, and has been nominated for several different positions at school with the entrepreneurship or the DECA program that he's involved in, which is a club there at school, and just got elected as vice president. So how he's going to fit that into his repertoire, is beyond me, but I am sure that it will get placed and put in, and everything will be taken care of on his end. But no, I actually can say that I see that he has that foundation of of his life right now, that he knows that if he does what he needs to do now, later on he can take time to really enjoy and reap the benefits from his time that he's put in right now in his life.
Hmm. So it sounds like you were very supportive because you could have took a different route when he started, um, I guess side hustling. You could have said no and you're not leaving, and you could have locked him in his room and you're not getting out of here. But you decided you were going to let him do it. Can you talk about that? Talk about that more?
Oh, absolutely. So because I wasn't born in the United States and my family was very, very strict, my mother, very strict environment growing home, and um, as a female, and we always wanted to do different things or had aspirations to do different things. And not that she shunned us away from that or didn't support different scenarios, but it was always, oh well, later on in life you're going to, not be as successful if you're doing that. Or I don't feel that as a young woman in the same age and that Jacob is as a teenager, we had as many opportunities, or we had the support of, our parents to let us go that next step and feel like we can be self achievers and have that situation happen for us. There were a lot of things I wanted to be or wanted to have growing up, and my parents weren't as supportive. So I always said that if, I had kids or had the ability to be able to allow those, opportunities for my kids, that I would definitely allow it. I think that, I know we hear all the time, you only live once, enjoy your life and you should do this, that, and the other. But honestly, that is what it is. We only live once as far as we know, and why not have the achievements and the opportunities and fulfill all those things that we want to do, because you don't know. You don't know what tomorrow brings. So I'm very much supportive of that, for sure, for both of my kids.
What country were you raised in?
So I was born in Germany, and then I grew up in Madrid in Spain, and then I moved to the United States. So my mother came to the United States as a young adult after having had kids. And, it's a different mentality, it's a different era, and it's a different way of seeing the cultural diversities and life in a different country. So it was very much, a challenging experience for us as young ladies. I have a younger sister, so it was different opportunities for sure that we were exposed to, as opposed to what the younger generations have now.
So it sounds like you have, which I find very common in immigrant families. Like once they come to America, it's sort of like you're trying to fulfill that American dream. You want your kids to have what you didn't have, and it's sort of like you're pushing your kids to grab everything that they can. So is it something like that in terms of when it comes to people who immigrate from other countries when they come to America? It's they want their future generations to get that American dream.
I think there might be some of that, in the sense. I mean, in America's, or North America for that reason, the United States has always been known as the land of opportunity, the land of the place where you can do what you want to do. The opportunities are endless. I think, a lot of that has changed. I'm not going to lie and say that, those opportunities are not available. I think opportunities are available to anyone who wants to take advantage of those. I mean, right now I moved to South Carolina and I live in the proverbial White House with a white picket fence, which, is the American dream. But at the same time, um, I can't really speak for other immigrant families, but I think that when you do immigrate to another country, or you come especially to North America, to the United States of America, that you are coming here for other opportunities that your own country or your homelands are not offering, for whatever it may be, political, environmental, or any kinds of those reasons, or that you want a better life. But again, the definition of a better life or success differs for everyone. But in my situation, um, I push them to be happy. I push them to have balance. I push them to be healthy young men and have an understanding of what their surroundings are, to be respectful to themselves first and foremost, and then you live by the golden rule, which is, the way that we were brought up. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of that is what's lacking in the younger generation, and the lack of assertiveness, or just even with these last couple of years with them having to be um, inside for COVID, or behind the screen of a phone, and not know what the realities are, because everything has so many masks and mirrors, which, you know, there's a plus and a negative to all that. I do talk to people that are, within my close circle of friends, and we always say, wow, we're really glad that we didn't grow up with phones or social media, because it really would have not allowed us to have so many experiences that we did have growing up.
So is there a concern about the younger generation now in terms of the skills that they're lacking compared to your generation?
Um, yeah, I think absolutely the sense of self entitlement, the sense of you not being accountable for their actions, I think is very different than the way that we were raised here. We had different experiences, we had different outcomes, we had different, it was a different cause and effect for us. We didn't have, a lot of the leniencies that a lot of the younger generation have here. And that's personal, again, from, we've lived in California, we lived in New York, we live in South Carolina, we lived in Atlanta. We have been in different economic and, social scenarios where you see that, times, change is good and change is constant, but that just doesn't allow for as much growth as opportunities as we would have had at their age. My concerns are more the mental health end of it. I think that their generation now has a lot more to prove, or a lot more to be accepted. I was watching something on Netflix the other day that discussed about social media, and what would you do if you woke up tomorrow and you had zero friends and zero followers? Like, how would you feel? How would you react? And so many people's response, or their generational response, was they would be devastated. Like, how come I have no one that's going to like me, or make a comment about a post that I have? So there's a lot of that is hard for me to process and understand. And I really express that to both of my kids, that, there's so much of that that's not true. There's so much of that should not take an effect of your daily life, because, it's important that you realize who you are and what your worth is, as opposed to how many likes or how many friends that you have on social media.
So, keeping all that in mind, do you find the way that you parent your sons, does that affect the way that you um, parent your children?
I don't know that it affects the way that I parent my kids. I like, again, to keep an open line of communication, and I have that open door policy, and I And I feel that in having so, we can discuss scenarios. I do continue to reiterate that, hey, put your phone down, take a look outside, get to know your surroundings a little bit more, because I just find that whether I go to the grocery store or I'm going to um, any kind of interaction that I have at any kind of establishment, I feel that there's always somebody that is on their phone, that is an employee at said location. And sometimes I have a hard time understanding that, because I don't, where I work, I don't spend my time on my phone. I don't feel that it's necessary unless I'm on break or I'm on my lunch, or happen to walk outside, then I will have an interaction on my phone if need be. But I just find that anywhere you go, whether you're at Lowe's, Home Depot, or like I said, the grocery store, there's always an employee. They're always checking Facebook. They're always checking, Snapchat or their social media. And it just changes the whole dynamics of trying to relate to people in all kinds of environments.
I think that's true as well. I think, and then even though I'm a millennial, I think the phones have taken over our souls. um, but yeah, so now with when it comes to business, because nowadays it's all about getting on the internet and interacting with people using apps. Are you ever concerned? Were you ever concerned about you know Jacob being lost and all the technology, as one as a teenager and two as a teenager with a business?
Of course, I had concerns, especially coming from a background of working in human services and adult probation, and seeing, where a lot of the kids, the direction that they had seen different situations or different conversations or pictures or things that they forgot, that were told, hey, don't send that about yourself. I did monitor because of all that. But I think with the background of the jobs that I held, and we talked about different scenarios that, not identifying any individuals, obviously, or participants in any programs, but just in general terms of, hey, be careful with this, because this is what could happen. Once you post that, or once you comment on that, or once you take a picture, or it's out there. There's no going back. I know that they say that you can delete it, or it doesn't ever get deleted. It will always be out there. So whatever it is that you're going to say, it's like back in the day, use your brain, think about it, process before you regurgitate anything that you think might not come out the right way. That's when you really need to process and say, is this what I represent? Is this what I want to be known for? I think, especially now that a job depends on it, education, if you're going to university, if you're applying to a school, even a local community college. I mean, that is what you're based on. That is the first thing that they want to know, and they will Google you, they will look you up, they will see what your, you know, preferences are and comments that you make. And you could be drinking water and, a red cup, and the assumption right away is that there's, an alcoholic beverage in there, and that may not be necessarily so. But again, that's why you have to be careful of how you put yourself out there, and know that that will come back, whether it's positive or negative, that will come back. So I always strive to have them understand that as best as I can. I know that they think that, oh, I'm grown, I can do this. I know. But it's also, it is a fear. But again, it's also understanding that they need to figure it out as well. But right now, I don't monitor it as much. I think that they both have a pretty good head on their shoulders when it comes to that. But when they were younger, absolutely. There was definitely what I called at that time, and they laughed at, was called screen time. They didn't like that, but yeah, whether it was with TV, computers, anything with a screen, they had a limited amount of time on it.
So it's, even though Jacob had his own like full blown business, you were still mom. It
Absolutely.
wasn't like, oh, you're making money, I'll let you do whatever you want. No, you were still monitoring him, you were still on top of him.
Absolutely. And I always, I know even now we do that 360 where I know that if he's going to certain areas to pick up, to drop off, that he's not alone, whether, he's with his friends working. I always know where he is and what he's actually doing. Also making sure that that safety end of is there. But when he did start, I must say, he did use up a lot of ink cartridges because he didn't promote his business online. It was always a flyer. He put it in someone's mailbox. So, when he did start, it was very much, old school, as we say, that he would put up, flyers, or he would, promote his business that way. So it did not start on social media for sure.
So now you brought up a good point in regards to the ink cartridges. All of his business expenditures, I think that's the right word. Did you make a lot of financial investments? How involved were you in terms of the development of all of his side hustles and even his big company, the snow removal? Did you make any financial investment? Did you help market? Did you how involved were you financially and otherwise?
So I never charged him for paper or ink. I'm going to be honest with you. When it came to him doing the snow removal, so he did not drive. He wasn't old enough to drive. His brother had a truck. So he would pay for gas, he would pay for mileage, and he would pay for any kind of expenses that were incurred through that end. And he would put it through the business and literally break it down as a business expense. And that way, when tax season came, he knew what the breakdown was, and he printed all his, receipts and bills and all that on his own. I never asked him for it. I'm going to be honest and say he did offer to pay. And I said that he didn't have to because it really, I mean, to teach him part of the overhead, yes, he knew what it was. But at the same time, that was, pretty much, it wasn't that much that he was using that was going to, put a big dent as far as in the paper and ink cartridge budget. But any kind of big promotional items, he did go to Staples, or um, I think he went to a print shop once or twice to get something when he had to make 3 or 400 copies of something. But if it was on a smaller end, he did do it in my home. But he did offer to pay, and I said that he didn't have to. But anything other than that, whether it's the shovels, any kind of equipment, the salt, again using his brother's truck, or even his brother's time, he would pay accordingly and break it down. And he would do the research to know what the hourly rate was going for that particular position, and compensate accordingly on his own.
Okay, so it he handled when it came to making investments in the business, like purchasing supplies, travel time, things like that. It was mostly on him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. And where do you think he gets his entrepreneurial spirit from?
um I think he gets it. Well, a lot of it is from himself, but I think that he saw a lot of the things that I did when they were younger growing up, or even just giving back to the community. I did a lot of my own business because I wanted to, have time to be at home for them. I remember when he was maybe 6 or 7 years old, he would help me load up my car with all my plastic bins and my rolling racks, because I would go to people's homes and do shows. Or I had girlfriends that were very, very creative, just their sales ends weren't as gifted as my talents in that end. So I would go pick up, whether it's t-shirts or jeans or jewelry, and then go and either set them up in my basement, or go to any kind of function that had where you rented a table and put out your goods for sale. We did that for a lot of the fundraisers. So he was very involved when he was younger with me going to go do these things. So he would work the square, the device that you would put into your phone and take the credit card information. So he would do all that end for me when I was working, or he would also help me lay out the table and merchandise and really promote whatever product it was that I was selling at that time. So maybe just seeing me do it, but I think that, entrepreneurship or that drive, I think you are born with that. And if you have the opportunity to have those skills honed, by outside influences, I think that always helps. But I think that he was born with that fire inside of him to do more, for sure.
And it definitely sounds like you honed in on that fire, because before I said, you could have just squashed it and shut it out, but you decided to kindle the flames.
Absolutely. I just saw the energy growing inside of him, and that will and that want and that just excitement for him. And I think that that's when you take an opportunity and you allow it to flourish, because what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work, but you at least know that you tried and you did something that you thought was going to work, or that you thought was going to make a difference, or was going to be something that would work for you or for someone else. And like I tell them, the worst thing that could happen is that it doesn't work, and then you find something else or you create something else. So that's a win-win, I think.
Hmm. Awesome. All right, I just want to make sure I get this in. So last time Jacob and I spoke about being able to balance operating the snow removal company and going to school. So I wanted to hear your take on that, about him balancing going to school and doing his company, because some things we brought up about were him receiving calls in the middle of class, and hiring secretaries, things like that. So can you shed some light on the balance between school and business for someone his age?
Well, like I said earlier, I think balance is key. But what's funny about this is when you were saying that he was receiving phone calls at school, a lot of the people that would call to get a quote or have him come by to actually do the job never thought that they were dealing with such a young individual. They always thought that it was somebody that was a grown man, to be honest with you. When I would go with him to either pick up a payment or have a contract signed, they had no idea. So when they would call at school, I think that it would go straight into voicemail, or he would either probably sneak his phone out during class, I'm sure, and try to respond to a text or so. But now I think that being a junior in high school and having a little bit more time to kind of answer back to clients and things like that, I think that they pretty much know that he is in high school, that he's a younger adult, and trying to kind of work things in like that as far as timing. But I think that in the very beginning, it was a bit comical, because no one was really, looking forward to seeing, a 14, 13-year-old boy come to their door with a receipt saying, here, this is my company. And they were very surprised and taken back. So, but right now, I think that he has managed, and honestly, I can't tell you how he has managed to do it, but he manages his time. And he doesn't stay up till ungodly hours doing this. He might stay up, going out with friends and enjoying his time with friends. But as far as the business goes, he manages to get schoolwork always comes first. And then now his club activities that he's been, elected to do, representing South Carolina. But he has managed thus far, knock on wood, to really cover all his bases as far as timing goes.
Awesome, awesome. And did you ever receive any complaints about him? I mean, being his mom, did did any customers talk to you about him, or maybe your friends? What did people tell you about him, whether positive or negative?
So I have to say, he had a negative complaint from one customer, and it wasn't even to me; it was to him directly because of, I guess, whoever was plowing that particular day hit some sort of stone or decorative item that was on their lawn, and Jacob took it upon himself. He was very cordial, he was very accepting, and he made an appointment with said customer, went to their home, took pictures, evaluated the whole situation, and, you know, took accountability, even though it wasn't him personally that did it. It was someone that worked for him at the time that was plowing. And I don't remember if he took it off the bill or if he was told the gentleman that he would just get it repaired for him. And I think at the end, what happened was, is the homeowner said, you know what, because you came to me and you were willing to take care of this issue. I think the homeowner just said, I appreciate your professionalism and being accountable. And to be honest, I don't think that it was even Jacob's company that did it, but he was spot on and took the matter in his own hands. As far as any complaints personally to me, I've had no complaints thus far. I've had just more so people telling me, wow, he's amazing, or he's great, or how's he do this, or wow, that kid has so much drive, he's got so much fire, you know, are you so proud of him? And, he's going to go far. And where's he wanting to apply to school, or what does he want to do later on? And, again, I just say this is just who he is. This is who he's always been. Even like I said, in elementary school, he's just always had that drive.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are starting to wind down now. So, do you have any words of wisdom that you like to share with our viewers? Any final advice that you like to share?
Sure, and I know we've heard it before in saying, "Hey, just be supportive, whatever it is that we want to do." Of course, it's all within reason, but I think that if we are supportive and we give them that foundation and that ability to grow at home, I think it does make a huge difference going on as far as self-esteem and going forward in their lives to try other things. And we've all been there. We've all been in situations where we're hesitant or not as secure or always think that, oh, it's not going to work, but you don't know until you try. So if I were to have to talk to another parent or a young adult, I'd say try it. Again, the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work and you try something else, but it's not a success until you've tried it. It's not a failed achievement, it's just an achievement. It's just something that you've wanted to do, so go and do it. That's pretty much what I say. And if you have the time and you have the energy and you have that willingness to try, I say try.
Awesome. That is amazing advice. And Claudia, thank you so much for joining me today. So, I'm going to put up your banner here. So, you guys, you can check out Claudia on social media. She is on Facebook and Instagram. So, if you have any questions, if you want to follow up with her about this interview, if she's a mom, so if you want to pick her brain, maybe you have a child that wants to be an entrepreneur, and she obviously is going through it. She's going through it now. Maybe you want some advice or whatever it is. If you want to pick her brain, learn how does she do it. Definitely reach out to her. I encourage you to find her on Facebook and Instagram, and reach out to her and contact her with any questions that you have. And she is available for listening, pretty much. So if you have any questions, if you want to follow up with her, please check her out. Her information is scrolling below at the bottom of the screen. So I encourage you to find her on social media and reach out to her with any questions that you might have. All right, Claudia, thank you so much for joining me today. And oh, one quick thought. I'm just going to put the banner back up here again. This information will be provided in the description for those of you watching this on Facebook. All right, so Claudia, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. And again, yes, feel free to reach out. And if there's anything I can help or answer, I'll be available. But thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the program that you have. And it's definitely a wealth of information. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I'll place you backstage now. And y'all, it is just you and me. So let me put up my banner here. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, wherever you are watching this episode right now, whether that is Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, maybe Instagram, please check us out for more. Please check us out for more videos and clips, and don't forget to follow us. Whatever the button is, like, subscribe, follow, whatever that button is, press it. Press that button. And while you're at it, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below or in the comment thread. And as a reminder, this web series is a production of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you would like to learn more about our company, the things that we have to offer, our services, if you want to learn more about the company in general, maybe you want to learn more about this web series, whatever it is, our contact information is scrolling below. However, I will say our website, it is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. So please check out our website and check out our social media. And we also have an email list and a texting list. I encourage you to sign up for both of them. The links are scrolling below on your screen as well. And I encourage you to sign up for those as well. You will receive exclusive information that you will get before anybody else when you join those things. So that's discounts, promotions, events, whatever it is, you will hear that before anybody else only when you sign up for the email list and or texting list, but I would love it if you did both. So sign up for both of those things. The links are scrolling below on your screen as well. And the information, again, all of that will be provided to you in the description for those of you watching this on YouTube. All right, I'm just going to get this last message before we officially close.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Awesome. All right, you guys, that's it for our episode. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. And now I am signing off.